I'm Judy Shaw for NYSE Floor Talk. Joining me today is Francisco Alvarez-Demalde. He is co-founder and managing partner of Riverwood Capital Partners. And also joining me is Mariano Gomide de Faria. He is co-CEO of VTEX. Gentlemen, it is so great to have you both joining me today.
Nice to be here, Judy.
Thank you, Judy.
A quick note to our viewers before we get started. This interview is for informational purposes only. The NYSE doesn't recommend any investments or investment strategies. Now, I want to start off by mentioning some recent news from VTEX. VTEX just announced that it raised $225 million in a Series D funding round, propelling it to unicorn status. Mariano, congratulations. That is wonderful news.
Yeah. Thank you. It is, and it will help us to put the plan in motion. We are just entering the United States, so we just 6 months ago we put in place a plan to establish a headquarters here in New York. That's the reason I moved myself to New York. I'm based here in Scarsdale, and we hire a really good team, and we believe that we're gonna show off what VTEX is bringing as new, and push the bar of the software for digital commerce for another standards.
Now, Francisco, I want to ask you, now Riverwood Capital is an investor in VTEX. What are some of the various trends leading to the emergence of unicorns in Latin America?
Yeah, look, it's a very exciting time for technology. Of course, tough times for all of us given COVID, but the acceleration, digitalization, it's really happening globally. And Latin America is a region that has been seeing this technology adoption over the last 10 years, and it's all flourishing, I could say, in the last 2 to 3 years. And VTEX is an amazing example of it. I think innovation is coming from a lot of regions. Latin America is really advanced on what we're seeing in terms of, commerce, in terms of an omni-channel way of thinking about transacting. And VTEX has really been on the leading front of transforming the way people really buy and sell products and how brands interact with consumers. And I think all this technology, all this growth creates an amazing opportunity for companies like VTEX to become global leaders in their space. And, it's also good news in a way for Latin America that there's several other companies as well really going into that journey, and the number of unicorns, in a way, as people like to call them, is actually increasing.
Now, what are some of the unique success factors that have catapulted these Latin American entrepreneurs?
Well, I think it's just an incredible region. It's a big region in terms of population, 600 million people. People get sometimes surprised to know that there's actually a significant higher number of internet active users in Latin America than in the United States. So it's a huge region with a great potential. E-commerce penetration, just to give you a sense, is now at 6%, the US is at 15%, and in the last 2 months, that penetration has to go up to probably now 12 to 14%. So if you think about all these 400 million internet users, or 300 of the 600 million of population, with now penetration levels of e-commerce of what we saw in the US last year, you can just do the math of how big the opportunity is. And I think that's also creating a huge opportunity for entrepreneurs to really build amazing companies. I think the second thing I could say about these entrepreneurs, unicorns, and in a way about, for example, VTEX now being such a global player and having such a success is, there's a lot of a story of resilience and building. It's a volatile region, and then it's tough to build a business in Brazil or in Colombia or in Mexico. And I think bringing that expertise, bringing that resilience, and taking that on a global basis, it's really amazing to see.
It's important to add that in the history of VTEX, we have 20 years, and we were always profitable. And this is not common for a company, a SaaS software, a SaaS for digital commerce like us. And the other thing is that recently, last week, we were appointed by IDC as one of the top 3 companies in the world, way ahead of SAP and Oracle. So this is the first time ever a Latin American company achieved that kind of status. So it's we are very happy for this.
Oh, yes, indeed. And you actually beat me to it. I was just about to ask you about that. So now tell me, what's unique about your culture and approach to customers versus the other companies you mentioned?
We do believe that the next generation of software will come from being a solution as a service, not only a software as a service, but that means the knowledge should be embedded in the software. So The thing that makes VTEX unique is there's the only profession all the employees of VTEX has is to be digital commerce specialists. So we have on our customer success team, we have managers of companies that used to manage online 700, 800, 1 billion operation. And now they are at disposal to our customers to teach them how to do it. And the way we're gonna teach it in an elastic way is through software. So how we translate complexity in a simple approach, I do believe that's what makes VTEX unique. We have a concept of the collaborative commerce, because for years, to go for a go-to-market online strategy in the United States was just a matter of having one store, one distribution center, one carrier. But now you have a multiple pickup points, you have a multiple channels, you have omni-channel to sell, omni-channel as a sourcing, so it's an omni-sourcing. You have multiple logistics, multi-currencies. This is much more complex than it used to be. So the companies needs different software. And VTEX, by being born and raised in Brazil, in the most chaotic environment of retail and D2C, we run companies like Samsung, Motorola, Walmart, Levi's, Whirlpool, Electrolux, those kind of companies that they need now to solve complex things, they also need simple software. And VTEX is the piece of the puzzle that deliver this kind of capability.
Okay, so you mentioned a lot of your customers, and you have others, other large enterprises. Why do you see large enterprises like AB InBev, Motorola choosing VTEX as their global commerce partner?
Judy, you have a wave of big companies trying to create their own technology fancy labs. But this is old. We still have some companies pursuing this kind of approach. But it's very, very difficult for a retail or a brand to become something that the developer wants to hire to work for. So now they need to deliver something to the end users. So they are using VTEX as this framework that already have the complexity in a simple approach, and they can create up in VTEX. So actually, it's a time to revenue. You don't need anymore a 3 years project. For example, we deploy, for example, Samsung in 8 countries in 4 months. We deploy Motorola in 32 countries in 9 months. And this is wouldn't be achieved if they have their own approach. So the way the companies are now operating is say they need technology, but what it is commodity, they can third party. And what is still the core, they will develop inside. And VTEX is this, the collaborative commerce that allows company to develop their own technology, their own IP inside our framework, and they can count on a very stable and ready to use end-to-end marketplace, digital commerce, and OMS product in the same software. That makes us, we believe, the next generation of software for the US retailers.
And Mariano, what's next for VTEX? What does the future hold?
With the COVID thing, it's unpredictable what can happen, right? The level of digital penetration is in the roof. So like Francisco said, it used to be 6%, actually achieved 18% and will stabilize in 12, 14%. That means that in one perspective, we win as an industry 4 years. In my perspective for VTEX, we lost 4 years because we need to be ready for 4 years' time in 2 months. So the thing is, we will continue to expand. So we will open our Asia office. We will invest much more in Europe. We will push harder the US operation. We will hire and train a new generation of digital commerce leaders from scratch, from the universities. And we will become, and I believe we are, the company that will serve as the highest talent density in digital commerce in all the software industry. So that's what we stand for. That's what we're going to pursue. And running the show from the United States in the New York head office of VTEX, it opens a lot of more opportunity to us. And obviously, in the near future, we are planning to go much more aggressive on M&As or even in the future on IPO. So it's a lot to do, a lot of energy, a hell of a good team. So I am very enthusiastic.
Yes, you are indeed. It's all very exciting. Okay, so one final question, and I actually want both of you to answer this. What's the one thing people should know about VTEX? Why don't I ask Francisco? Why don't you tell me first?
I would just say two things, if I may. One is next generation digital commerce, which is really on the forefront of omni-channel, of collaboration, which is really where the world is going. Every single retailer and brand should explore VTEX to understand how the commerce of tomorrow is being run. And then second is really passion and a crazy focus on customer success.
If a company on a brand or industry or retail wants to solve complex scenarios, VTEX is the thing that will translate complexity in a very simple time to revenue project.
All right. Well, it's been wonderful to talk with you both, and I can't thank you enough for joining me on NYSE Floor Talk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judy.